back with more laughs with the JVN. Hi, my friend. Yes,
Hi, honey. I'm
hair.
so excited to be here, Tony.
The Lil Rhody Laugh Riot Comedy Festival. 4 days in Providence.
Yes.
This is a big deal. This is the first time they're having this festival.
It
There's some
is.
big names. Leslie Jones. How are you preparing for this set? You've been on the road. How do you go at just moving through all the spaces that you are in, getting
I'm
ready
just
to be in stand-up mode?
one thing I learned about stand up is so this is going to be my fourth hour. At this point in kind of developing the hour, my first special came out earlier this year, is in January, Fun and Slutty.
Yeah.
And what happens is like when you have a special come out, you got to retire that material and you got to make new material. So now I'm on Hot and Healed. So this is like a fully new hour set. I've been writing it since after the election. I debuted it in Phoenix. Then I played 5 shows there. Then I did 4 shows in Raleigh. So I almost got 9 performances of it under my belt at this point. But Lil Rhody Comedy Festival will be my first time doing it in a theater, my first time in a bigger venue. So I'm excited to see how some of my beats hit. When your show is this young, you're still workshopping it, you're still developing it, you're still changing punchlines, you're still adding things. So now I'm kind of going through and listening to all my audio from Phoenix and Raleigh. I'm just excited to keep refining it. With Queer Eye or my podcast, everything has to be edited, but you have a moment to edit. However, my podcast, I get to be a part of that editing process. Queer Eye, I don't. We do the show and then we leave and you do your best, but you don't really get to be like, oh, could we try this or could we try that? Stand up is a whole different thing because it's live, it's in the moment. I just feel my whole body lights up. I'm excited to get back out there. I don't have the jaw of Matt Rife,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I do have, I do think that I have my own strong comedic prowess that people would love to see. And I love Providence.
I was just gonna ask you, have you been to Providence before? Oh
I have. I played there once in
my gosh.
2023 and it was a really
Okay.
fun show. I have family there. It's the day after my birthday. So I'm going to
What
be,
an amazing birthday gift for yourself. Are
yeah,
you kidding? What do you take on the road with you for these things? It's
I
different than
actually
traveling for a Queer Eye, I
It's
imagine.
insane, girl. When I go to the airport, I feel
Have
like
I
they're like,
started something now?
no, they're like, how long are you leaving for? It's a day. I definitely have one huge suitcase of makeup
Okay.
and hair because I do my own glam. And then I always have 2 or 3 options for the night because I'm a prolific spiller. I can
Oh
spill
no.
coffee on myself from across the room, not even drinking it. It is really one of my biggest opportunities for personal growth. I need sippy cups. I can't not spill on myself if it is just such a problem. So I always have to have a couple backups because I will spill on myself like walking on stage. So that's what I carry. It's that. And then my husband usually comes with me and helps me out.
Yeah.
And we usually bring our dog Elton. He keeps it light and fun. Might do a little
Yeah.
bark from backstage. He's kind of naughty, but he keeps us on our toes.
Listen, husband on the road with you is amazing. I was gonna ask you too, do you have any pre-show rituals to like psych yourself up, to get yourself in
Right
that
now,
vibe?
I feel like by the time you've done the show a little more, like you get more off book. Right now, because I'm still in my first handful of performances, I'm just in my notes. I am so in my notes. I'm listening to music, but kind of really getting in my notes. And then I feel once I've done the show for 3 or 4 months, then I'm more, let's have a pregame. Let's like listen to some
Right.
music. But I feel like I gotta like get in the zone and make sure that my beats are going because my neurodivergence, while I'm so grateful for my ADHD because it, makes me who I am, that can just be a runaway train on stage. And next thing I know, I'm recapping the 1988 Olympics, the Battle of the Bryans. I call it a hard right. And those have varying degrees of success when you're as interested in niche topics as I am.
You mentioned about honing your craft. I'm curious to hear what's changed about your comedy over the years, most, would you say?
Road to Beijing was my first tour, and my second one was Imaginary Living Room Olympian. And those were both when I was opening my shows with gymnastics. And I feel like that time in my career, I was so scared to do an hour that I was like, is my comedy good enough? Am I funny enough? So let me get them gymnastics at the top. Let me make a bigger show. I think back then I would have a general idea of what I was going to do, but I was really leaning into improv. I just have gotten so much better since then. Now I'm running every set. I'm doing little clubs. I'm doing little drop-ins at my friends' places. I'm not even posting about it so that I can just get up and work it in
Yeah.
different places and in different ways. I really felt like in 18 and 19, I was doing my best, but it wasn't there yet. And I kind of did it ass backwards because I was in Radio City, selling out Radio City, and now I wish that I could be like. So I'm working my way back, like back there. But I do think that my sets come such a long way. I just so encourage people to I never thought that I could be a comedian or that I had what it takes. But if you feel there's anything that you want to try, but you have just been scared to try it, you might bump your ass in public. It might not be as good. It's hard learning in front of people. Not that I'm the best. I think I'm going to keep growing. And just writing comedy really is my most. I'm getting into scripted now. Honey, I think I'm a writer. I really like to write.
I love this epiphany we're having. It's
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
I've been knowing, but I'm just telling you now.
I think what you represent in this space also is just this explosion of queerness in comedy. All to say that queer people have always been part of comedy, but having your queerness and your experiences front and center, it's just a really beautiful thing to watch in this space right now.
I do think that there's never been more comedians in there right now, but we have to take our hats off for Miss Margaret Cho because she was queer first, woman first,
Yeah.
trans inclusive, but she really, for me, at like a, 14, 15, 16-year-old me, she was my first love. She was my first entry into comedy. I remember seeing her on Comedy After Dark on Comedy Central, and then I got Notorious CHO from Blockbuster once I like figured out who she was. Without her and her possibility model, I would have never done stand up. And then I ended up doing her hair through Game of Thrones, but she was the one that told me that I was meant to be a comedian and I was meant to do it. So it is now, but there is people, so many queer comedians who came before us that really did get their ass handed to them to get us these opportunities.
Ugh, I mean, Margaret is an icon,
Just
to
a
say
full
the least.
legend.
Oh
I
my
hope
gosh,
I want to
fully.
be a springboard for other people too. I feel like I still see so many people that are like, I didn't know that you did stand up, or like, I didn't even know that you did that. And so I hope people can hold space for seeing me in a different way because it is certainly like, it's still me, but it's a different me than what you might be used to on Queer Eye.
Take us behind some of the set without giving away any spoilers. Comedy isn't just an escape, it's a great way to talk about real issues, relevant issues. Are we
Yeah.
going for more satirical? Are we balancing the set here?
It's a lot of politics. It's a lot of Republican stuff. It's a lot of trans commentary on living as a gender nonconforming person in this time. I'm also dealing more with racism than I ever have. White people, honey, we got to talk about it. The white girls, we really left a lot to be desired in this last election. So did the white men. I feel like I didn't see what non-binaries people's returns were, but I'm pretty sure that queers were. We were doing pretty good. But my yes queens, we got to have a chat. I've just been talking about more serious stuff than I probably have, but in a really irreverent. Chappelle can do what Chappelle does.
Stage to do it at.
I'm just gonna send it.
Absolutely.
So I'm being a little bit more leaning into politics, but it's also a lot about aging. And I'm approaching 40, and there's certain things that I didn't know about as we get older. So I just want to let these Gen Zs know what's coming. I just want to give them just a little shout out, a little forewarning. But and also there's some fun family stuff in there, but it mostly is about healing. It's about healing through division, healing through hard times, picking ourselves back up, finding the silver lining in the storm. And I think also what I always want my comedy to do is allow people to celebrate and have a moment of laughter and levity. That's hopefully what people will experience when they come to see the show.
Lil Rhody Laugh Riot, Providence, Rhode Island, Thursday, March 27th through March 30th. Get your tickets now. Real quick before we go, JVN, advice for young up and coming queer comics.
To get up as much as you can. Find a place where you can get up. Always, when you think of something funny, write that down. Don't be like, oh, remember. No, you won't. Write it down. Have your folder. I think those are my two biggest things. The second that you're old enough to legally perform on stage, find a place where you can get up. Because getting up now is the hardest thing to do and hardest thing to figure out of how to find a place, how to perform, navigating an open mic night. That's all tough and it's a whole scene and it takes a lot of resilience and perseverance. I didn't even have to go up that route, but I've worked with so many people who have and I've seen it. And I think the other thing I would say is I had started to do stand up before Queer Eye happened, but not very much. And whether it was doing hair in the salon or supporting myself from other means, have something else that gives you joy and passion where you can soft workshop your stuff. Because I was workshopping my stuff on my clients all the time, kind of like Mrs. Maisel, but you still got to get up, you know? So it's have something where you can kind of supplement your income because it's tough at the beginning.
JVN, we never have a shortage of things to talk about. It's one
You
of
love
the things
it.
I love about you. I'm so happy, excited, and proud of you. This is going to be so great. And
Thank you, honey.
here's only just started.
Ah, 2025. We'll see how it goes.
We got to get through it. We're going to get
Yeah,
through
we're
it
gonna do
together,
it.
though.